morning to all. I will start the session. Okay. Before going to the today's session, again I will give you the discussion on JDBC one more time within 5 to 10 minutes. Especially the steps that are to be followed. The steps after completion of theoretical knowledge, you are in a position what happened inside, then you will definitely get the remaining things. Definitely get the remaining things. Okay. Now you know that one. What are the steps? First, we are loading the drivers. Remember or not? What is my first step? Loading drivers. How to load the drivers? For loading the drivers, we are using either implicit or explicit. Explicit in the sense the manual approach. For that, you need to create an object for the driver, and after creation of an object, you explicitly call the method register driver of from the class driver manager. Anyway, instead of that one, what we are using? We are using for name in implicit. So, what is the step? Class is the predefined class dot for name of class dot for name of. Here you are writing the name of the driver, either Oracle driver or MySQL or MongoDB, whatever it is. Here you can write the name of the driver. Fine. My first step is completed. After loading the driver, what is the next step? The next step is connection. Yes or no? The next step is connection. So for connection, what you are using? Get connection is the method. Remember or not? Get connection is the method. That method is available under a predefined class. So what is the class? Driver manager. Driver manager dot get connection. Remember, the get connection method is available under the driver manager class, and that is the static method. That is the reason I accessed by using this one. Now it consists of either single parameter or three parameters. Single parameter means only URL. Three parameters means URL, username, and then password. Okay, this is establish the connection. Whenever you are calling this one, what it returns? It returns the details about the connection. It returns about the details of the connection. Suppose if the connection is established successfully, an object is written. It stores the connection. Yes or no? If the method is executed successfully, an object is written, and that object stores the corresponding connection. Suppose if it fails, the connection is failed, then throws an exception. Here all these are available under which class, in which package? Java.sql. So throws SQL exception. SQL exception. Okay. Step 2 also completed. What is step 3 we discussed? Under step 3, we discussed one point. Create statement. You remember that one? Create statement. So the statement is also available inside an interface. So statement is also an interface available in JDBC ABI. That means it is available in java.sql. Now, what we did in the last session, statement is created, So for that, the interface name is statement. Yes or no? Statement. Some st is equal to statement. Some st is equal to. Now, after that, create statement is the method. Create statement is the method. Within this one, whatever the query you want, you can write the query. But this create statement method is available inside the interface connection. Inside the interface connection. So, con dot create statement of. Okay. Anyway, this is used for creating the statement. And the finally, the fourth step is once the statement is created, you can execute the query three ways. Execute, update, execute, query, simply execute. Depending upon your requirement, you can use any one of these one. Finally, we are closing the connection. Con dot close off. Okay. So this is we had discussed in the last session. In the last session, we discussed these things. Clear? Now, so go back to the last session. In the last session, I given one point that JDBC API consists of different predefined interfaces. There one interface is statement. For creating a statement, along with there are two more ways. One interface is prepared statement. Prepared statement. Another interface name is callable statement. Okay. So let us discuss about these two also in detail. Okay. By the end of these two, you are in a position what happened inside. Definitely you will understand. Now, the first two steps are fixed. Remember, the first two steps are fixed. That is loading the driver and then connection. Okay, after this one, instead of create statement, here we are using create statement interface. Here, instead of that one, you can use either prepared statement or callable statement. Now you got my point. Go to the third step directly. Go to the third step directly. Anyway, so in most of the situation, you are using prepared statement. That is the reason I explained the prepared statement one more time in detail. In detail. Okay. Now, prepared. Remember the word RED. Prepared statement. Why I specifically mention that one, you will understand. Prepared statement. Okay. Simply, this is also an interface in JDBC API and it is available under java.sql package. Java.sql package. Now, what is the use of this one? Sir, already I have the concept of statement interface. The concept of statement interface for creating the queries. That means writing the query and submit the query to the database. Understand? Once the connection is established, you are writing the query in a Java program. Yes or no? You are writing the query, that is SQL syntax, in the Java program. Now you need to send the query to the database. You got my point? In the Java program, we are writing the query and this need to be submitted to the database. For this submission, For this submission, we are using the statement and then prepared statement. Remember the point? Now, what is the use of this particular interface? Submitting the queries. I will write down that point also. Used for submitting queries from the Java program to database. Then only the system understand this is the query. Otherwise, if you are not using the concept of prepared statement, system consider this one as a normal Java program and compiler gives an error. Now, okay. Sir, same statement is also used for submitting the queries to the database. First, remember what is the difference between statement and prepared statement. Generally, this prepared statement is used for submitting dynamic queries. You know the meaning of dynamic at the time of execution. So prepared statement is used for submitting the dynamic queries. Remember, even though dynamic means static is also not allowed. Okay, but the main important thing is statement is used for submitting static queries. Prepared statement is used for submitting dynamic queries. Okay, now you understand. Remaining concept is as it is, as it is. Now, what is the remaining concept? First, you need to create an object for the prepared statement. Yes or no for submitting. So, what is the name of the method? Here, we are using a method prepare statement. Everybody compare the last session and this session. In the last session, we are using the statement. What is the method name there? Create statement is the method. Here, the method name is prepare statement. Prepare statement throws some exception. Now, this prepare statement is the method where it is available. It is also available under the connection interface. First point. So, connection interface is common. In the previous case, the connection interface consists one method create statement with parameters. Create statement without parameters or with parameters, whatever it is. Here, for that prepared statement, it consists of one method prepare. Observe here, not D is not there. The interface name is prepared. The method name is just to prepare. The method name is just to prepare. Now, generally, what the type of exception throws? SQL exception. Now, what it returns? In the previous case, it returns statement. Here also, it returns the return type is prepared statement. The return type is prepared statement. This is the syntax of the method. Clear? You need to remember the method syntax. Public prepared statement. That means the return type is an interface. This is the method. Where this method is available? This method is available under the connection interface. Under the connection interface. Now you know the remaining thing. How do you call this method? You are writing the statement like this. Observe. So what is the first step? You need to create an object. This is just method syntax. You need to create an object for prepare statement. How? Con connection dot prepare statement of. Here you are writing some query. Anyway, we will return some query example also. Observe the previous. In the last session, con dot create statement. Here connection. Why connection? This is available under the interface connection, and already we established the connection. Assume the object is connection. Okay. What is the return type? The return type is prepared statement. Now the return type is prepared statement. Object some PST. Generally, we are using the same names for easy understanding. ST means for statement object. PST means for prepared statement object. CON means connection object for easily understanding. Now, here you can write any query. You can write any query. For example, you can write update query, alter, create table, whatever it is, drop, delete, you can write any query. For example, delete, my table name is some student, delete student table, where, remember, ignore the syntax, that is whether it is right or wrong we will discuss under database. My question is where. Now follow this one here. COL is equal to question mark. COL is equal to question mark. This is the syntax. This is the syntax. Okay. Now I will explain what is the question mark, everything. So here I written some query. This is the database query. By using this prepared statement, we are submitting this query through this connection. Submitting this query through this connection to the database. To the database. So okay, submitting some successfully. Everything, an object is created. An object is created. Now this is the object PST. An object is created. Okay. Now, once the query is submitted to the database and the submission is successful, from the database, it returns to some PST object. It returns to PST object. Suppose your connection, that is your transmitting the query, is successful. Okay. Clear? 90% the concept is completed. But here I already said, I explained the prepared statement in detail, just not the syntax, in detail, in the sense, okay, the query is submitted, actually what happened. Before, this is okay, fine. Internally, before submitting the query to the database, you need to perform the concept of binding. Before submitting the query to the database, you need to done the concept of binding. First of all, what is mean by binding? Very simple thing. Sorry, very simple thing. Binding means, here we have a question mark. We have a question mark. Binding means you need to supply the values. You need to supply the values to the question mark. That means blindly, first to write down the query. First to write down the query. After completion of the query, you need to apply the values. Sorry, you need to supply the values to the question mark. That supply the values to the question mark is called binding. Generally, the question mark is called a placeholder. Placeholder means, you know that one, where we are placing some values. Okay, clear the point? So, right, today, this is the first step only. Yes or no? This is the first step, just to creation. Okay. How do apply? By using the concept of Setter methods. By using the concept of setter methods, we are supplying the values. What is the setter method? For example, assume if the question mark is replaced with an integer number. For example, ID. ID is an integer. If you want to set some integer, the method name is setIntOf. You got the point? Setter. If it is an integer, set int. If it is float, set float. If it is date, set date. If it is a string value, suppose name, set string. Like this, you have approximately 14 to 15 setter methods are available. Setter methods are available. By using the setter method only, we are initialize the question mark. Okay. After completion of this step, now what is the immediate step? Immediately you need to write PST. Remember, once this statement is executed, this query is transferred to the database. Once it is validated, it returns an object PST. Now, whatever you are doing under PST, that is updated to the database. Yes or no? Now, what is the next statement? PST dot, for example, if it is an integer, you can write set in. How many number of parameters? Remember, it consists of every setter method consists of two parameters. Every setter method consists of two parameters. Suppose 1 comma some 10. What is the meaning of this one? One specify the question mark place. For example, a query not only consists of one question mark. For example, you have a statement update table name set. Uh, For example, column is equal to question mark, where column is equal to question mark. More than one question mark is available. Now you got my point. So a query can consist of any number of question mark. Now the first two parameters specify the first two question mark. Suppose if you are writing 2 comma, this meaning is here I given some value. This value is placed in place of second question mark. Now you got it. What is the first one? This means simply the question mark number. The question mark number. So this is the first question mark. Now the value is replaced with 10. So for the column, we are given a value 10. We are given a value 10. Okay. Now this is also happened successfully and the query is automatically submitted. Now you need to create the connection object. Immediately you need to apply the binding also. Why? You need to apply the binding also. These two steps are compulsory. Clear the point? That is a dynamic query. You understand? Sir, where is the concept of dynamic? Here we are replacing the question mark. That is dynamic. Okay. That Okay, sir, fine. So binding is also completed. After binding, what is the next one? You remember the fourth step? The fourth step is processing or executing. Here also the same three methods. The same three methods. Execute, update. The first method, execute, query, the second method, and third one is execute. What is the difference among the concept is same. So, but what is the difference? Suppose if you are using these methods in statement in the last class, if you are using these methods in the statement, here it consists of the query. Anyway, I will show you both each and everything practically. But see, if it is a statement in the last class, the parameters consists of query. Now in the last class, what is the example? Create, so sorry, interface name is statement st is equal to con dot create statement of just empty parenthesis. After that, st dot execute update of, here you are writing the query. Exactly. Prepared statement. We are writing the query here only. We are writing the query in the method as method. Now, here for this, no parameters. Yes or no? Already the query is written in the prepared statement. Here within the execute query, execute update, no parameters, execute update, no parameters. Clear the point? Now, without parameters. Generally, you know that one. Execute query. Whenever I return some query, sorry, whenever I execute query, I am getting some output. What is the return type? It returns some result set. Anyway, I will discuss this one also. I will discuss each and every one. So, whenever you are using this one execute query, the output is result set. What is simply a result set? I already shown in the last example. Simply it stores all the values. After executing the query returns some value. For example, if my query is select star from student, so it returns all the values related to the student. All those are stored in this one. Okay. Now, what is the difference among these three? Whether it is a statement or prepared statement, the concept is same. Suppose if you are using execute update, so it returns an integer value. Now, what it returns? Now, what happens? It returns how many records are updated. According to the query, how many records are updated? That count is returned. Here execute query means the exact output is returned. Execute update means it returns the number of updations that are processed inside the database table. Now execute, the return type is boolean. The return type is boolean. That means it checks whether it is true or false. That is executed successfully or unsuccessfully. Finally, you can use anything. For example, pst dot execute query. pst dot execute query. Now clear the points. Now clear the points. What are the steps? Again, I am repeating why. In 99% of situation, everyone used the prepared statement. So this prepared statement is also an interface available under Java SQL package. Now already you know the concept of statement. Why we are moving to prepared statement? First question. Actually, the statement interface is used for static queries, but prepared statement is used for dynamic query. Anyway, whether the query is static or dynamic, all those are used. What is the purpose? From the Java program, if you want to submit the queries to the database, we use this one. This is the signature of the method. Signature of the method. So the name of the method is prepare. Again, I am repeating, there is no letter D. If you have a letter D, that is interface. If you have just a method prepare statement, this is an interface available So this is a method available under the connection interface. Now it throws exception. Why? The statement is submitted successfully or unsuccessfully. If it is submitted successfully, no, that means it returns the object. If unsuccessfully, it returns the exception. See this one, con from this connection, con dot prepare statement of, con dot prepare statement of. We are writing the query. So the query is submitted successfully and the result is stored in the object PST. Okay. So first point is clear. Here dynamic query means the question marks are available. The question marks are replaced by some values. That concept is called binding. That concept is called binding. How do we replace the value? By using the concept of setter methods. By using the concept of setter methods. For example, pst dot, if it is an integer, set int. If it is a date, set date, set string. It consists of two parameters. The first parameter is the question mark number and the second parameter is the value that we are passed. Okay. Now clear. The values are also passed dynamically. Anyway, final step is you need to execute. Again, like statement, here also three execute methods. But what is the difference? In the statement, the execute method consists of some parameter. Here prepared statement, the parameter is already written inside the method. Now this execute does not require any parameter. What is the difference among these three? After writing the query, if you want to get the complete details, you can use execute query. Sir, I does not want the details. I want to know whether the query is executed successfully or not. Just I want to know the information. You can use execute. Why? The return type is Boolean. If it is true, successful execution. If it is false, unsuccessful execution. Now, if you want to know how many records are updated according to the query, you can use execute update method. You can use execute update method. Okay. Clear? Clear the points. So binding is completed and methods calling is also completed. Okay. Remember one important point. Here the question mark is used for column conditions. We are writing some condition where age is equal to 30, where suppose marks percentage greater than 50. All the conditions are only for column. The values of question mark is sent dynamically. Okay. And anyway, one PST object is used for executing one query only. One PST object is used for executing one query only. Now everyone clear the with prepared statement? Everyone clear with the prepared statement? Okay. Finally, I am moving into the next one. What is the next interface? Callable. Callable statement. So three interfaces are available. What is the purpose of these three? Either statement or prepared statement or callable statement. The purpose is fixed to submit the queries to the database for submission of queries to the database. Okay, submission of queries to the data. Now, okay. So this is also a predefined interface. java.sql interface under the package java.sql. Okay, sir. Generally, two types of queries. One is static query and another one is dynamic query. Yes or no? Yes, static is query is processed by using statement. Dynamic is accessed by using prepared statement. Static is accessed by using statement interface. Dynamic is accessed by using prepared statement interfaces. Now, what is this callable interface? Generally, the statement or prepared statements are used for generic queries, whether it is a dynamic or static, generic queries. Generic query means like insert into, delete table, table name, drop table, table name, update to alter, like that generic queries we are using statement and prepared statement. Now, if you want to work with, if you want to work with other than generic query, anything is present other than generic query. If you are know the concept of database here, not advanced Java is completely related to database. Yes or no? Why? The concept is connection to the database. In database, suppose either kill everything along with the normal SQL structure, we have the concept of PLSQL. I think everyone listen the word. Anybody know the database? They know the word PLSQL. Okay. Now PLSQL. Under this we have different concepts, procedures, functions, not the single query. You got my point? So not the single query. If you want to execute simple generic queries according to the requirement, static or dynamic, you can select any one of these. But if you want to execute other than generic query means like PLSQL or procedures or functions, we are using this callable statement interface. Now, what is mean by this one? Generally, the procedures or functions already defined and already stored in the database. Remember, understand the minute simple logic. Here, actually, a table is created. Actually, a table is created before this callable. Whether you are using ST or JD, for example, delete table student where column is age is equal to 30, where we are writing some query. According to the query, the table is updated. Yes or no? But here, procedures or functions means those are already defined. The procedures or functions are already stored. Like definitions, whenever we are calling the function is executed. You got my point? Just what is the thing remaining? You need to call the function. Now, okay. Before calling this function, what is the first step? You need to create an object for callable statement. You need to create an object for callable statement. What is the method name? Prepare call. This is the method name. Remember the method names. Create statement, prepare call. Within this one, in the previous case, what I written? In the previous case, that is the last session. The previous in the sense, in the last session in the sense, under prepared statement, we are using prepare statement of query. Yes or no? Prepare statement of query. Here, prepare call of, we are passing a string. So this is common. Throws SQL exception. Simply, what is the string? Is the query? No. The string is simply function call. You got my point? The string we are passing is simply a function call, or simply it is a procedure call. You know the logic. Whenever we call the function, that goes to the function definition where it is executed. Here string means you are not writing any query. Simply we are calling the function automatically that goes to the, this is used for submitting, yes or no? So that query is submitted to the database. Already the procedure or function is stored inside the database and that is executed. Now prepare call. What is the return type? It is very simple to remember. The return type is the name of the interface. Callable statement. Public. Now, so you need to practice by making the comparisons. Take one paper, write down all the things separately, make the comparison, then it is very easy to understand. So, callable statement. So, previously prepared statement, then previously statement. You got my point? So, this is an interface, this is a return type. String is, what is the string? The procedure call or the function call. Now, this one is very important. Coming to the concept of string. So the string is written in two ways. The string is written in two ways. The first one is, yes, everyone remember this one. This is, if you remember this function, prepare call, remaining logic is everything is same. But here the format of string function, the basic format of query, simply within double quotation update table name. But here this is a string. So we are using two formats, either SQL format or what is another format? PLSQL format. Here my concept is not database. So remember we have two formats, either SQL format or PSQL format. Follow and note down carefully. First I am explaining SQL format. What is the syntax of string? You got my point? Here everything I am discussing about syntax of string. Syntax of string. Okay? What are the two things? Either procedures or functions. Simple thing. First, before explaining the syntaxes, you need to remember one point. According to the concepts of either SQL or PSQL, generally procedure and functions are available in PLSQL. Even though that is available under PLSQL, we follow this syntax. What is the difference? First, you need to identify the difference between the procedure and function. Procedure and function. According to this PLSQL, procedure does not return any value, does not return a value. Function means it return some value. Identify the difference between procedure and function. Generally, the procedure does not return any value, function returns some value. Now I will write down the syntax related to SQL format. First, the syntax of procedure. The syntax of procedure. Double quotation, where you are writing prepare call of, in place of string you need to write this one. This is a string. String means double quotation, open the flower bracket, call. Yes or no? We are calling the procedure. We are calling the function call, the name of the procedure. Procedure name. For example, assume the procedure name is sample. Call sample of. Here we are calling the function, normal concept. We are calling a function with parameters. Yes or no? The parameters are question mark, comma, question mark. Here you can pass any number of parameters. That many values are available under the string. So procedure, question mark, this one, close the bracket, close the quotation. Everyone remember this syntax. Whenever I am moving to the programming, you need to remember this syntax at the time of calling. Call procedure name with parameters. Okay. Coming to the function, quotation, flower bracket, call function name, the name of the function, question mark. You can pass any number of parameters, close the bracket. Now compare what is the difference. I already said the difference. The procedure does not return any value. Consider your simple sample programs. If you are calling the function add of 2 comma 3, what happened? You are going to the function definition where the function is executed successfully, everything is happened. Suppose if your function consists of some return type, yes or no, now the function is executed. Whenever you are calling the function is executed, it returns some value, yes or no. So the value is stored in a variable. Simple basic concept. Here also function consists of some return values. So whenever you are calling the function, it returns some value that is stored. C is equal to add off. Add off is the function call. Whatever the value it returns, that is stored in the C. Like this, question mark is equal to question mark. You are not specifying the variable name, question mark. Dynamically you can replace. Now what happened? First we are call specifies we are calling the function or procedure with these parameters. Automatically this function definition or procedure definition is already available in the database. There the function is executed which returns some value. The return value is stored here, question mark. Okay, this is the syntax related to SQL format. Now the syntax related to PLSQL. Syntax related to PLSQL. First to procedure. You can use anything. You can use either SQL syntax or PLSQL syntax related to PLSQL. Begin, that is starting, space, the name of the procedure, question mark. Here you can pass any number of question marks. The procedure name, semicolon, end, semicolon, close. You got my point? So the procedure name, we are calling the function. We are calling the function that is ended. Beginning and ending. Beginning of the procedure, ending of the procedure. Similarly, for function name, what is the concept? Begin. So function name, question mark. Here you can write down any number of, end, semicolon. Here the function means it returns some value. Question mark is equal to, question mark is equal to. Okay. Now in place of str, you can use anything, either SQL format or PLSQL format, SQL format or PLSQL format. Now you got the complete idea. You got the complete idea. Now I will explain step by step the example. What is the first statement? Up to now what we discussed? What is the callable statement? What is the callable statement interface? The signature of the prepare call method. So the parameter string explanation. Okay. First, step 1, step 2 completed. What is step 1? Loading and register of driver is completed, and then a connection object is established. Assume the object name is CON. After that, according to your requirement, you can select either statement or prepared statement or callable statement. Now, follow step by step. What is the syntax? Callable statement. Suppose generally scalable statement CST is equal to con dot prepare call of. Here you are writing the query, any query. You can write any query call. Suppose procedure name question mark comma question mark. Sorry, here I forgot. Yes. So statement 1 is clear. Statement 1 is clear. So by using connection object, I call the method prepare call. So within the prepare call, I am passing a string. Whether it is a procedure or function, you can use SQL syntax or PLSQL syntax, whatever it is, you can use any of these things. Okay. After completion of statement 1, what happened? What is the next one? You already know that one. What is the next one? Question mark is replaced with value. What is that meaning? Binding. Yes or no? Now the concept is binding. Actually, this is not simple as the prepared statement. Here, question mark available in the sense binding is not compulsory. So, in this callable statement, that is in this prepare statement, you need to check, whether the binding is required or not. What is the meaning? Why the binding is required or not? So, here this is related to procedures and functions. At the time of we are creating a procedure or we are creating a function in the database, generally the parameters are categorized into three types. Remember, we are creating a procedure. If you know the concept of database, then this topic, I no need to explain this topic. Anyway, I will explain. If you are creating a procedure in a database, three types of parameters are possible. The three types of parameters are: first one is in type parameter, second one is out type parameter, third one is in out type parameter. So three type parameters: in type, out type, in out type. For example, what is no? For example, assume we have two question marks. If the two question marks are in type parameter, then we need to apply the binding. Both are in type parameter. You need to apply the binding. You already know the binding logic. What is the logic? CST dot set int of 1 comma suppose some 10. Yes or no? CST dot set int of 1 comma 10. You know that one. 1 is the first question mark, 10 is the corresponding value. CST dot, for example, set string of some 2 comma hello. Now this is question mark 2 is consists of a value hello. Now this is what we discussed in the prepared. In the prepared statement, we have only in type parameters. So if it is in type means we are applying the concept of binding. If it is out type means you need to apply the concept of register the parameter, registration of the parameter. What is the syntax? The syntax is void, remember, register, register out, out, register out means this is output type. What you are registering? You are registering the parameters. Very simple. We are registering the out parameter with two parameters. One is int comma some index value, int comma some data type, int comma some data type. What is the index value? You know that one. That is the question mark number. What is the data type? Data type, you know that one. Data type specifies what type of values, what type of values. So everyone remember this one. The data types are already defined. You no need to use additional one. Whatever the data types that are existed, all the data types are already defined. Where those are defined, all the data types are defined in a predefined class, types. Remember the name. Types is the predefined class. All the data types are available under this predefined class as constants. As constants. Data types is defined as constant. What are the examples? Suppose constants all are capital letters. Integer, char, varchar, double, date, etc. Now what is the syntax? CST dot register out parameter of question mark number 2 comma suppose types dot integer. Not only to 1 comma types dot integer, 2 comma types dot float, whatever it is. So remember, if it is in data type, so how many in parameters? For each in parameter, you need to apply the binding. Assume all the two are in parameters, you need to write two set methods. If two are out parameters, now this is required? No. You got my point? If the two question marks are out parameters, that binding is not required. Now we are writing only the register. How? Register out parameter 1 comma some constant, register out parameter 2 comma some constant. Suppose if one is in parameter, another one is out parameter. Assume one is in parameter, another one is out parameter. For in parameter, we apply the binding concept. For out parameter, you apply the register concept. Everyone clear the point? Clear the point? So, what is my first step? My first step is creating a creating a callable statement object. Okay. After this, depending upon your requirement, you can apply the binding or registration. Assume one is in parameter, first question mark. So ignore this one. First question mark is in parameter, write down the statement. Second question mark is out parameter, write down the statement. You are again, I'm repeating, if both are ins, only binding. If both are outs, only registration. One is in. For in, apply the binding by using setter method. For out, apply registration by using register out parameter method. Okay. So step 2, only this is the additional step. Yes or no? This set is also, this is the additional. What is the next step? The next step is common. CST dot execute only. So in the statement and prepared statement, you have three methods execute for processing. So here we have only execute query. Only execute query. Finally, actually the last step is con.close. Here, one more is also available. For example, if you are using the function, it returns some value. Yes or no? Yes or no? Now, you need to store the data. Whatever the value it return, you need to get the data. Yes or no? Collect the data out parameters as getter method cst dot get int of 2. Now, what is the meaning? Assume, according to my example, the second question mark is out parameter. Yes or no? The second question mark is out parameter. Out parameter means we are getting the value. So, CSC dot get int of 2. That means question mark 2 is an out parameter, which is integer. Simply, if a procedure without parameters means there is no headache, no parameters means no concept of binding, no concept of registration, that is no concept of setter methods, no concept of getter methods. Again, I am repeating. So for every in type parameters, apply the binding. Every out type parameter, apply the registration by mentioning the question mark number. If you have an out parameter, you have an additional point of getter methods also. Getter methods also. Okay. Now, in originally, my third step is completed. Step 1 and step 2 is very easy. It takes hardly 2 minutes. Loading the driver and establishing the connection. That is very easy. My entire concept is under step 3. You observe the point? Either statement or prepared statement or callable statement. Okay. What is our next session? Result set. Result set. Okay, the queries are executed, it returns the value, how the results are stored, how we are evaluated, what are the different types of results, everything we will discuss in the next session. That is end of today's session. So you need to practice. So first to understand theoretical. Any doubts related to this session? Okay, close. That is end of today's session. Thank you very much.